And so I've been tall for a very long time. Let me just kind of give you a clue on how tall I was growing up. When I graduated from the 8th grade, I was 13 years old. I was 6'3". When I then went to high school over the summer to go to the 9th grade, I had grown to be 6'5". Just want you to, over the summer. 2.5. What's up? How you doing? Welcome back to a moment in time with yours truly, Aaron Thomason. Listen, I appreciate you stopping by again, but I want to know, did you like it? Did you share it? Have you given this away to somebody? All right, because here's what I want us to kind of double down on. And I want to walk through a couple examples and some stories that I've seen in my life that hopefully you find a little funny. Maybe you pray for your boy, whatever it is. I want to make sure that we kind of dig into something that we've been talking about here recently. And that is having an opportunity where your clarity breeds the confidence necessary to move forward. And the first question we have to answer is, who are you? Who am I? Right? We talked about that in the previous video. And so I want to give you a couple examples on how I had to learn some very tangible things about the difference of what the understanding of knowing who you are makes in your life. The difference it makes. All right, so I'm gonna give you one. So, and I'll be honest, I didn't have this revelation all on my own. I got this from my grandmother. And my grandmother, who is in her 90s, I ain't gonna tell all her age, I ain't gonna tell her name, because, you know, she might be having a bit of a fit knowing that I'm referencing her right now. But just know, my grandmother don't let none of us put pictures online and don't let none of us talk about her. That's a different story for a different time. But listen, my grandmother, who is one of the strongest women I know, she said something to me very young. And so for those who can't tell, as I'm sitting in this seat, there's a lot of legs underneath my desk, but I'm 6'8". And so I've been tall for a very long time. Let me just kind of give you a clue on how tall I was growing up. When I graduated from the 8th grade, I was 13 years old. I was 6'3". When I then went to high school over the summer to go to the 9th grade, I had grown to be 6'5". Just want you to, over the summer, 2.5, 3 months, I grew from 6'3" to 6'5" over the summer. Yeah, drove my parents crazy. But because I was always tall and a little gangly, a little awkward, clumsy too, yep, all that stuff growing up because my body was growing so fast, I remember my grandmother told my mom, and she relayed the message, and she says, tell Aaron, I really like how he walks with good posture. You know, him walking tall looks good. And I think later she told me that too. And I'm gonna tell you something, that made me feel so good. Because now all of a sudden, something that's natural for me, right? We go back to, who are you? I'm tall. I can't hide. I gotta walk into certain rooms and duck my head. When I haven't done it, I got a bunch of dents in my forehead because I didn't duck, right? You got to understand who you are. And so at my height, something very simple, I understood who I was. And so guess what? My grandmother, through her encouragement, told me, own it. It's yours. It's God-given. Don't try to change it for nobody. I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever seen somebody who's tall? It's clear they're tall, but they don't walk tall. They don't walk proud. They kind of trying to slunch over because they want to blend in. And you really want to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, let me let you know. We all see that you're tall. Just own it. Just own it, right? And because of that piece right there, that's one of the things I get credit for, is being tall, walking with good posture, owning my height. But there's also another part of the ownership of my height. Got this lesson from my mom. Is she told me is be careful, right, on who you hang out with, because if they get into trouble, they may not remember anybody else but the tall person. That's true. Think about it. If you see some stuff in the crowd, you remember, oh yeah, I don't remember them. Oh yeah, but that dude, he was head and shoulders over everybody. Oh yeah, the tall guy over there was. Or as you go out in places, you be like, Man, I ain't never seen nobody that tall. Being tall is memorable. Being tall sticks out. But I'm telling you this because I had to learn early about who I am and the different attention that attracts. I couldn't hide it. It was natural that I was tall. There were moments I didn't want to be tall, I'll be honest. But once I started owning it, you start seeing the world respond to you different. And for some of us, we're not owning who we are. And we're wondering why the world isn't responding to us the way that they're responding to other people. Because guess what? They're owning their authenticity. All right. Now here, let me give you something else about this. As a kid, being delusional, being tall. Growing up, I had the opportunity to spend plenty of time with my godparents. Loved it. Loved my godparents. Loved my godbrother and sister. Like, it ain't this, hood thing. Like, yo, that's my sister. That's my brother. Like, nah, we hung out together. We done worked together. They done babysat me. We done got fussed at together. We done got prayed on together. We done got chewed out together. Like, we done got all that stuff together. Like, that's family. Those are my folks. My god people are my folks. Well, it was one summer. I'm hanging out, spending probably 2-3 days like I normally do. God brother decides, hey man, let me get you away from them girls, because it's him and then my 2 god sisters. Hey, so we go hang out outside in the neighborhood, and it's this guy named Teddy. Now, because Teddy's a little shorter and he's older and I'm taller than him, all of a sudden, somebody came with this idea, let's put some boxing gloves on. Say what? Now, let me be mindful. Excuse me, I didn't fight. I ain't seen no boxing gloves in person, only on TV. So I'm like, so what we doing with some boxing gloves? Oh, so we gon' fight, but I ain't do nothing wrong. Nah, man, just this is what it is. You big, he big. Y'all need to go get at it together. Oh, okay. So in my head, I'm going, my god brother trying to convince me, okay, that I can do this. Hey, I'm big. I'm bigger than him. So he's older than me. Let's go ahead and do it. Do y'all know that was the most ridiculous thing I could have ever done? Because we in the backyard doing our thing. I get hit, boom, one time in the stomach. Oh, got the wind knocked out of me. Listen, that was the quickest fight. It was over with. My man Teddy hit me with, boom, one good one. I was done. See, I still remember the dude's name. Now here's why I tell you that story. Because I understood that I couldn't fight. I understood that I'd never put any boxing gloves on. And I understood that I wasn't going to do it well. But I went along with the process. I went along with the crowd. And guess what? Got myself hurt and embarrassed. And that's the thing I want some of us to understand. Some of the wounds we've suffered, some of the embarrassment that we've gotten, it isn't because we weren't clear on who we were. We just didn't have the courage to live in that authenticity. That's all I want us to do, is to understand who we are. Who are you as an individual? Because when you own it, the world responds differently to you. Because they want to feel that authenticity, that passion, that swag, as they say. But when you know who you are and you get pulled in by a group of people that have another motive other than watching you succeed, then that's when you're put in a position to be embarrassed and to get yourself hurt. So here's all I want you to do this week. I want you to first share this with somebody who needs to get in touch with their authenticity of who they are. Who you can tell that you can send a video and say, hey, don't get knocked out by your Teddy because somebody convinced you to do something that you know it's not you. Hey, and you might not be tall like the big fella, but you do have something that's unique to you. Own it. Walk proud in it. You don't have to tell everybody about it. Just walk proud in it. And that energy is going to attract the right people to you, because the world responds different, because they know you're different. You know you're different. They just want to see the difference because it's exciting, it's refreshing, and it makes a difference. So in the comments, tell me what you own this week. Tell me what you own it. Whatever it is, I want you to tell me what you're owning. And I want to be able to hear some of the stories that we can talk through and encourage each other. Because as we're working this week to get better, as we're working this week to be clearer, just remember, just because you started working to get better doesn't mean that you weren't already good. So until next time, I'll see you then.